sound of the drum and the sound of the shaker, lets you know it's time for the Griot Story Circle. Welcome to the circle. My name is Sister Martha Ruff, and I'm your griot, your storyteller. And today we're looking at trees. Laurel is named for a tree, a plant. Laurel is a plant that has a shiny green leaves. And so it's not surprising that the town of Laurel has wonderful blooming trees this time of year. And so go out and enjoy a stroll down Main Street or down Cherry Lane and see the trees in bloom. There is a poem that says, I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed upon the earth's sweet flowing breast. A tree that looks to God all day and lifts its leafy arms to pray. A tree that may in summer wear a robin's nest up in her hair. And in the winter, snow has lain and is intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Well, there are all kinds of trees, and sometimes there are things that we call trees, but they're really not. They're just big bushes. And that's what a banana tree is. Banana trees have big, long leaves, and sometimes in Africa, they'll even use those leaves to wrap up things that they sell in the marketplace. But there is one person who uses banana leaves in a special way, and his name is Anansi. Anansi is the Spider-Man. Now, this is a spider that was made in Africa from metal and beads. And they say about Anansi, sometimes he's a spider, and sometimes he's a man, but he's always tricky, and he's always getting into trouble and out of trouble. And this is what happened one time when Anansi went hiding in his banana leaf house. It was the rainy season in Africa. A rain like they had never seen. At night it would thunder, and the rain would fall in torrents. And all the animals were hiding and waiting for the rain to end. But it didn't end for days, for weeks, and into a whole month. It was the rainy season. And all of the animals were so relieved when suddenly the sun came out. And it took a long while for the land to dry out, and there wasn't enough time for their plants to grow and for leaves to come on the trees. And so they were still hungry. The giraffe didn't get leaves from the tall trees, and even the turtle couldn't crawl around and find anything on the ground. But most of all, the leopard. The leopard was counting on the animals being fat and pudgy so he could have something to eat. And there was Anansi, the spider. Now, Anansi wasn't thinking about farming or trying to find food by working. Anansi was so lazy, but he was tricky. He was always looking for some way to find something to eat or for someone to give him something to eat. And so that day, after the big rainy season, Anansi was going through the forest looking for some tricky way to get something to eat. And from the other way on the path came Leopard. Now, Leopard was looking for something fat and juicy to eat. Leopard would never even think about looking at Anansi the spider, but the leopard was so hungry that even Anansi's skinny 8 legs looked good to him. Oh, but the leopard knew even with Anansi he had to be careful in order to catch him. And so the leopard greeted Anansi with a wonderful greeting. Anansi, my brother, it is so good to see you after all this rain. Anansi? He's no stupid. Anansi had never had the leopard talk to him like that before. Oh, leopard, my brother, said Anansi, it is good to see you too. And Anansi spun a web and he began swinging up the tree away from the leopard. The leopard roared, "Ha, Anansi, I'm going to get you before this day is out." And Anansi, he went swinging through the trees, thinking about how he would get away from the leopard. Well, everyone knew where Anansi lived because Anansi had a small banana leaf house deep in the forest. Now, banana leaves are long, big, shiny leaves, and it was just the right size house for Anansi. But Anansi knew he couldn't go home, could he? All day long he went here and there until he just had to go home. It was getting late. And the leopard went right to Anansi's house and he waited. He squeezed himself down as small as he could and went in Anansi's banana leaf house. And he waited until it was late and Anansi had to come home. When Anansi got to his house, he looked at it and he thought, I wonder, could it be? No. Anansi had an idea. He knew how to find out if someone was in his house. Anansi sat on a rock outside his house and he began to hum. And then he called out, just as natural as can be, "Ho, my banana leaf house, how goes it today?" And then Anansi was quiet. Anansi called out again, "Ho, my banana leaf house, how goes your day?" And Anansi was quiet. Now, inside Anansi's house, the leopard could hear Anansi, and the leopard thought, is Anansi talking to the house? That's the silliest thing I ever heard of. But then the leopard thought again, what if Anansi really does talk to his house and his house talks back to him? The leopard listened and Anansi started talking out loud. "This is very strange," said Anansi. "Every day I come home and I say, 'Ho, my banana leaf house, how was your day?' And my banana leaf house answered me, 'It was a good day. It was a bad day. It was raining too much.' And today my house isn't talking to me. I wonder why. Oh, thought the leopard, I must be the reason that the house is not talking. What can I do? Outside, Anansi said, maybe the house is just not hearing me. Let me try again. And as loud as he could, Anansi said, oh, my banana leaf house, how are you today? And inside the house, the leopard answered in his best house voice and said, oh, Nancy, I'm fine. How are you? Said Anansi. Oh, brother leopard, I knew you were in my house, and you will not catch me today. And with that, Anansi spun a web inside his house and went up to the highest ceiling corner that he could find. And try as he could, the leopard couldn't catch Anansi. And so the leopard left to go find some other food to eat. But from that day until this very day, spiders live up in the corners of the house, and that's the reason why. Anansi's banana leaf house was one kind of tree, and if you remember, there was a famous singer who sang about banana trees, and his name was Harry Belafonte, and he would sing this song. Day-o, day-o, daylight come and me wanna go home. Day-o, day-o, daylight come and me wanna go home. Come, Mr. Tallyman, come tally me banana. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Come, Mr. Tallyman, come tally me bananas. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Day, me say day, oh. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Day, me say day, oh. Daylight come and me wanna go home. 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch. Daylight come and me wanna go home. 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Day, me say day, oh. Daylight come and me wanna go home. And that's what the banana pickers would sing as they gathered up the banana bunches and took them to market to sell. And that's what we would hear Harry Belafonte sing. Well, there is a poem that is in a book that we love a lot because it's written by the mother of Eloise Greenfield, and her name is Leslie Jones Little. And Miss Little has written this book of poems called Children of Long Ago. And so if you're a grandparent or if you're a grandchild that has grandchildren, this is one way to find out what life was like when your grandparents were young. And these are grandparents that lived back in the 20s and the 30s. And she lived in the country, and she talks about her father cutting wood. And she tells this poem called Papa's Cutting Wood. Papa lifts his arms, swings the sharp axe, brings it down to the wood with a hard whack. His muscles balloon, his breath blows a tune. Papa's cutting wood on the wood pile. The axe strikes the wood with a loud crack. The sharp blow shakes Papa's arm and back. The wood pops a sound, falls to the ground. Papa's getting ready, but he cuts till dark, knowing enough for the bedroom and the kitchen wood box. Papa's cutting wood for the wood pile. And this is one of the things that did when she was a little girl. And when I was a little girl, I remember living in the country and seeing a stove that used wood to heat up. And so talk to your grandparents and parents and great-grandparents and find out what life was like when they were little and what the trees, what they did with trees during their time. Well, there is a grandmother who tells a story about a tree, and this is a tale from a Chinese grandmother. And this collection of stories are lots of fun stories that a Chinese grandmother is telling her grandchildren. And one of the stories she tells is about the stingy pear seller. Once there was a man who sold pears, and he would put his cart together each day and put his lovely juicy pears on the cart. He had an umbrella that he attached to his cart so he could be cool while he was selling his pears. And then he would roll his cart into town and he would sell his pears. But he was very stingy. If someone didn't have enough money, he wouldn't bargain with them. They were at the price that he set and only that price. And if little children came along with their parents and said, "I want a pear, I want a pear," he would not give them one, even because he knew that their parents couldn't afford his pears. It happened one day, as the seller came to sell his pears, that an old farmer was coming down the road. You could tell he was a farmer because his clothes were covered with dirt and he was carrying a hoe on his shoulder. And as he came down the road, he walked very slowly, as if he had been working all day and was very tired. When he got to the seller's cart, he looked at the pears and he said, nice juicy pears. I am so thirsty. Give me just a small one. You will be blessed for taking care of an old man like me." "What?" said the seller. "Do you think I'm just going to give my pears away? Go away. I'm not giving you anything." Well, the people that were nearby were aghast. They couldn't believe it. Someone treating an elder like that? One man called out, "Give him a pear. Don't you know how to treat the elderly?" "Well, if you're so concerned about it," said the seller, "why don't you buy him one?" And that's just what the man did. He came over and he bought a pear for the old farmer and he gave it to him and said, "Here, enjoy it, old man." And the farmer did. The farmer took the pear and he ate it. The juice was running down his face. He really enjoyed it. He enjoyed it so much that he ate it until there was nothing left but the seeds. And he looked at the seeds and he picked out one seed. He said, "This is a good one." And then the farmer took his hoe and he made a little hole in the ground and put the seed in the hole. Everyone was watching him. This was very strange. The old man said, I need a little help. I wonder if there's anybody that has some water that could help me out. Well, everyone always had a pot on for some tea, and so a woman came forward and said, here's some water. And the old man poured the water on the place where he had just buried the seed. And magically, in the next instant, there was a sprout. And then it kept growing until there was a trunk. And it kept growing until there was a tree within a minute. And the tree started growing leaves and blossoms and pears. The people gathered closer and closer, watching this happen in front of their eyes. They couldn't believe it. And soon the pears on the tree were just as ripe as the pears in the seller's cart. All right, boys, said the old man, climb up that tree and bring those pears down. And there were some boys around, and they climbed that tree as fast as they could and brought down all those pears, and pretty soon everybody was eating pears. Oh, they were delicious. It was wonderful. And they weren't watching because by the time they had finished their pears, the old man took his hoe and he whacked the tree and knocked it down. And he took the trunk and started walking away. Oh man, wait, they said. Tell us how you did that. But while they were watching the old man walk away, the seller suddenly turned and looked at his cart and, my pears, he said. Those were my pears he had on that tree. Stop, thief, stop. And the seller ran after the old man. But before he could catch up with him, the old man disappeared. said some of the people standing around. That will teach you. You'll learn now how to treat the elderly. They never saw that old farmer again, and they never saw another tree grow like that again. But all the people that were there remember that magical tree and that old farmer that grew it, and that stingy seller who learned a real lesson that day. Well, if you like trees, spend some time with your young people and take them to see the trees. And then gather your family around and sing a song. There's a song that I learned as a little girl about a chestnut tree, and it goes, under the spreading chestnut tree, when I held you on my knee, oh, how happy we will be under the spreading chestnut tree. And if you have some little children, they'll have even more fun if you do some actions with the song. And it goes, under the spreading chestnut tree, when I held you on my knee, oh, how happy we would be under the spreading chestnut tree. Well, I hope you have enjoyed talking about trees, and I hope that you will enjoy the trees of this beautiful season in our lovely town of Laurel. And we'll see you next time on the Griot's Story Circle.